Recently I made a video reviewing the most recent piece of Ninjago content, the first season of Dragons Rising. This is a video I'm overall really satisfied with. By the way, thank you so much for all the support on that video. But I feel like there's one aspect of the season that I didn't talk about nearly enough during that video, and that aspect is the side characters. Ninjago has a reputation for having pretty great side characters. Examples like Faith and Scales immediately come to mind, but especially in the 11-minute seasons, Ninjago really invested in making some damn good side characters. While that effort was super appreciated by Ninjago fans, there was a huge fatal flaw: the episode lengths. While these were amazing for doing specialized backstory episodes for these characters, they weren't so good for everything afterwards. Let's take Vanya for example. She had a really great introduction into the storyline, and then the Ninjago showrunners did a great job at slowly building up to the culmination of a character arc, turning the Shintarian people against her father and standing up to him. I love that scene where she wait, that's right, it didn't happen. The 11-minute episodes were so paced around Cole's storyline due to the lack of runtime that Vanya's culmination had to be done off-screen. Dragons Rising Season 1 avoids this problem by being the longest Ninjago season ever, with 22-minute episodes. What's great about it though is it takes the idea from WorldBrain about dedicating certain episodes to side characters and expands it into the 22-minute format. And it does this by taking what would have been a whole season's secondary plot, split into tiny little bits across the runtime of the season, and instead choosing to condense it all into one 22-minute long episode. With side characters now having their own episodes dedicated to a full story arc for them, the Ninjago producers are now able to introduce a bunch of new side characters that are on the par of the 11-minute era side characters, if not better. I am such a huge fan of this. Dragons Rising Season 1 has introduced a bunch of really great new side characters that I wanted to take a video to talk about. The main three side characters I want to discuss today are Euphrasia from the episode Writers of Destiny, Arrakore from The Last Djinn, and Geo from Land of Lost Things. Something that I really like about all three of these characters is that they're pretty representative of one of Dragons Rising's biggest goals. Take old Ninjago concepts that haven't had much done with them in upwards of multiple years and give them new, fresh coats of paint. For example, let's start with Euphrasia. Euphrasia is a writer living out of the Cloud Kingdom. The first thing that jumps out as immediately cool to me is that it's so fitting that the next elemental Master of Wind after Morrow would come from the Cloud Kingdom. And, like the previous Master of Wind, would majorly shake up how the Cloud Kingdom operates. The Crisis of Morrow showed the writers of the Cloud Kingdom that they don't have to be hyper involved in every single one of the affairs of other realms. Euphrasia's discovery of her elemental powers showed the Cloud Kingdom that they can be proactive in more ways than just writing. Elemental Masters of Wind and societal change in the Cloud Kingdom just seem to go hand in hand. And I think it's a really nice continuation of the plot threads from Season 5. Beyond that, Euphrasia's character arc of accepting that she does have elemental powers and needs to use them for the good of the people around her is pretty compelling. It's obviously not the greatest character development this show has ever seen or anything, but it is a well-written story that ties really well into Sora's character arc throughout the season. Something I really like about all three of these side characters is all of their journeys across the season tie into Sora's character arc in some way. This makes it so even though each of these guys appear for about an episode of the entire season each, they still have a huge impact on the plot and our central cast. When defending Prime Empire, I've seen a lot of people talk about how it's really cool that most of the season is spent on side characters and not the main ninja, showing us just how adept the ninja are at not only fighting bad guys, but also helping characters through their emotional problems. And I think that idea is executed a lot better here, where the journeys of these side characters actually inform the development of the main cast, making their presence in the show feel a lot more consequential. And speaking of majorly informing Sora's character development, let's talk about the character who does that the most, Arrakore. Following up on the Ninjago stuff from Season 6 is a really interesting possibility Ninjago has had for years now that it hasn't really done much with. Eventually it got to a point where I was really worried if they were to ever do that, because the obvious route there would be to bring back Nadakhan for fan service and all that. Instead, the Ninjago producers introduced a new Djinn character, giving us something new, whilst also expanding on an old topic, which is just perfect. I'm really happy with that. And what makes me even happier is just how good of a character Arrakore is. When we meet him, he's completely depressed and deflated that his entire home realm, all of his family, friends, and his entire race has been completely wiped from existence. Outside of the grain of sand he has in a locket on his neck, Arrakore has absolutely nothing left. Everything and everyone he's ever worked for in his entire life is gone. He does act condescending and generally doesn't care about anyone else's struggles at the start of the episode, but you can't really blame him. He really just has nothing left to live for at this point. And throughout the episode, Sora sees how Arrakore acts, and realizes that if she keeps being as pessimistic and hopeless as she has been over the years since she was expelled from Imperium, she's going to end up just as miserable and directionless as he is. And after she realizes that, she works to give Arrakore his long-lost hope back, by pointing out that that grain of sand he carries everywhere can be reconstructed into Ninjago via his wish magic. The central theme of the episode The Last Djinn is hope. The hopes and dreams that wish magic is built on is what begins to rebuild Arakore's lost realm, and is what he uses to defeat the Howlers, and Sora realizes why having hope, even in the worst moments, is so important, and uses that realization to give Arrakore his hope back. You can see how much this development changes him at the end of the episode. At the beginning versus the end, it's like he's an entirely different person. By the end, he's way more jovial and friendly, and actively tries to do whatever he can to help people. Arrakore is an absolutely spectacular evolution of the Ninjago concept from Season 6, and even beyond that, he is a wonderful character, and I am so excited to see more of him in future Dragons Rising seasons. While Arrakore is my favourite side character introduced in Dragons Rising, we can't forget about Geo, who I just want to say, hands down, has one of the coolest elemental powers we've ever seen from this franchise. What Geo has is basically just the fuse ability from Tears of the Kingdom. Fuse was absolutely sick in that game, and it's really cool in Ninjago as well. Beyond that, the concept for Geo is so great. Occasionally, Ninjago's character designers will just take two established races of characters and just combine them for one character. This happened for Clancy before him, and has now happened with Geo, who is a Gekko-Muntz hybrid that was ultimately outcasted from both Gekko and Muntz societies due to the race conflict happening at the time. Neither race wanted him because he looked too similar to the other one. And like all of the side characters on this list, Sora learns something pretty important from him. Broken things can not only be repaired, but made even stronger than they were before. Beyond being a really sick elemental power, fusion serves as an excellent visual metaphor for the ideas behind Geo's character and what Sora ultimately learns from him.
Wow, good as new. Better than new, actually.
Seeing how Geo's moved past from being exiled from his original society has made Sora realize that she doesn't need to be defined by her time in Imperium, and that not only can she recover from it, she can become an even stronger person as a result. Geo, despite having moved forward from his past, still has a lot of lingering doubt in his mind as a result of it, which is why he lies to Cole about needing his fusion power to unlock his new Earth form, out of fear that Cole would decide he doesn't need Geo in his life and leave. However, Geo very obviously has abandonment issues, and rightly so. I think anyone would in his position, and is completely wrong about what Cole would do if he found out the truth. Cole finding out the truth just didn't really care. Cole didn't keep Geo around because he could turn him into a giant rock man. He kept Geo around because he likes the guy. They work well together. Even without Geo's powers, he'd still be an asset. Cole needs Geo around because of the wonderful person Geo has shaped himself into after moving past his trauma with the Geckos and the Muntz. And I think that whole character arc of Geo moving past his tumultuous past, which indirectly shows Sora that she can do the same thing as well, is really emotionally powerful for both of the characters. Like everyone else I've mentioned today, Geo is a great character. So, to wrap this discussion up, Dragons Rising Season 1 has done such an excellent job with handling side characters. The return to the 22-minute long episodes has allowed the focus on side characters that WorldBrain brought to the table to reach new heights that have never before been seen for any Ninjago season, and has made me incredibly excited to not only see what new characters they can dream up in future seasons, but also to eventually see more of these characters, because I absolutely love all of these guys. As always, huge thank you to the channel members whose names are on screen now. Your financial support of the channel is really appreciated, and thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.